So the next question of Lead Code Weekly 382 is Alice and Bob playing flower game. Okay. Now in this question, Alice and Bob both are playing a turn-based game, and they are in a circular field surrounded by flowers. Right. Now in the field, there are X flowers in the clockwise direction between Alice and Bob, and Y flowers in the anti-clockwise direction between them. Right. Now in the game, there are basically three different rules. Basically, Alice takes the first turn no matter what, and in each turn, the player has to basically choose whether to pick up elements from the clockwise direction or from the anti-clockwise direction, right? And at the end of the game, if the no flowers are left at all, then the current player captures the opponents and wins the game. So basically, if Alice is playing the move, and after his move, if no flowers are left, then that player itself will capture all the other players' flowers and win the game, right? So basically, the one making the move where flowers finish is the one who wins the game, right? Now, we are also given two integers n and m, and our task is to compute all the possible pairs of x and y that satisfy the following condition. So, conditions are that Alice must win the game, and x is a number for the flowers picked in clockwise direction. It's a number in the range 1 to n, and y is a number in the range 1 to m, where y is the flowers picked in the anti-clockwise direction, right? Now, we don't need to return all the possible pairs of x and y. We just need to return the count of the possible pairs of x and y, right? So here, if n is 3 and m is 2, these three are the possible pairs, and that's why the output is 3, okay? So yeah, let's see how we can solve this question. So yeah, I've just written down the rules of the game. So basically, Alice starts first, and Alice can pick elements from both sides, clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. And similarly, even Bob can pick up elements from both directions, right? And the player who makes the last move basically wins. Last move basically indicates the move where the total flowers are basically finished, right? Now, the conditions for which we need to find the possible number of x and y pairs are that Alice wins. X is a number between 1 to n, and y is a number between 1 to m, right? Now, n and m are given to us in the question, right? So let's see what are the constraints of n and m. So n and m both have a constraints up to 10 power 5. Okay. So these two values are given to us in the question, and what we need to find is the number of possible pairs of x and y such that these three conditions are satisfied, right? And these are the rules of the game. Okay. So rules of the game, conditions that need to be satisfied, and number of possible pairs of x and y, right? So I hope this is clear, the question. Now, let us visualize how the game looks like. So there is Alice here, and let's say there is Bob somewhere else, okay? So let's say these are flowers, okay? Okay, now this is basically the clockwise direction, right? And there's the anti-clockwise direction, right? Now they have mentioned to us that uh, there are x flowers in the clockwise direction, y in the anti-clockwise, right? So here, if you observe, there are basically 3 flowers in anti-clockwise and 5 flowers in the clockwise direction, right? Now, Alice or Bob, they can choose to pick up flowers from any direction they want, right? And the player who makes the last move will basically win the game, right? Now, in this question, the information about number of flowers in clockwise and anti-clockwise direction is irrelevant to us because no matter how many flowers are there in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, as long as the number of total flowers, so if total flowers is odd, then in that case Alice will win for sure, right? Now here the total flowers is 3 plus 5 8, right? So if Alice is starting, Bob will have to end, right? Since we can pick up from any direction, since there is no restriction for that, in this case Bob would win. But yeah, basically the total flowers have to be odd, because in our condition Alice wins the game, right? So given so that is true that x plus y, irrespective of x and y values, x plus y should always be odd, is odd. Okay, for these conditions to be satisfied, x plus y should always be odd, right? Now we have this one condition ready with us, and we also know that x can be any number from the range 1 to n, and y can be any number from the range 1 to m, right? So with these two things in mind, what can we do? Now x plus y will be odd when? It will be odd when x is even or y is odd, or when y is even and x is odd, right? So basically, we find the number of possible evens from 1 to n, and number of possible odds in 1 to m, right? And we multiply them. Okay. So let me just put it in simpler way, right? So what will be the number of okay, I'll just write it. I'll make a table here. Okay. Odds, evens. Okay. And for x, for y. Okay. Right. Now, what will be the number of odd values that are possible for x? Okay. Now, if a number is from if a n value is given to us, we can easily say that the number of odds will basically be n plus 1 by 2, right? So this will be n plus 1 by 2. Okay. And number of evens will always just be n by 2. Okay. Here also similar way, we can say m plus 1 by 2, and here we can say m by 2, right? Now, we know that x plus y will be odd only when x is even and y is odd, or y is even and x is odd, right? So we basically cross multiply these both, right? Basically, number of possibilities where x is odd multiplied with number of possibilities where y is even, right? That will give us the number of total combinations where x is on odd and y is even, right? And that we add with the number of possibilities where y is odd and x is even. Okay. And that will be when we multiply these both values. So our final answer will basically be n plus 1 by 2, okay, into m by 2. Okay. I haven't mentioned brackets yet. Fine. I will mention brackets as well. Plus, we'll get m plus 1 by 2, okay, into n by 2, right? So this will be our final answer, okay? This entire equation will be our final answer. It's a very simple question. Just the understanding of the question is a little tricky, but the solution is very simple. And yeah, also use if you're coding in C++ or Java, store the answer in long, because since n and m values can be up to 10 power 5, as you've seen here, since they can be up to 10 power 5, this total answer might exceed 10 power 9, and it might go up till so in worst case scenario, it might go up till 10 power 10 power 18 or something, right? Around 10 power 18 as well, right? So that's why we basically use a long variable here. Okay. Anyways, and the time complexity of this question is basically just O of 1, right? It's O of 1 because it's just one simple formula, right? So yeah, that's how we solve the question.